Sorry, I had the hiccups. Last time we remember that God made way for the Israelites to get out of Egypt. Now, we should all think the Israelites should be very thankful for that, right? Well, let's see what happens. So, after they got out of Egypt and they crossed the Red Sea and they got into now they're just walking with Moses, right? They crossed the Red Sea, God opened it for them, everything was good. Now, we're going to continue on from there. And then patience comes in a little bit later in the story, but that is okay because I need to give you guys a little background story, because this story, it like angers me, but at the same time it can't anger me because it reminds us of ourselves, because the Israelites were so impatient, and you'll see what else they were. So I'm going to start. We're in Exodus 16 if you want to follow along, but the way this Bible does it, it simplifies it a little bit, so I'm going to be reading from here. So the Israelite celebrations did not last long. Soon they began grumbling about the lack of food. "We would rather have died in Egypt than starve to death in the desert," they moaned. But God heard them and promised they would get the food they needed. So God literally took them out of slavery. He took them out of slavery, and then God took them out of slavery, and now they're complaining. Even though God is providing them with food, they're saying that they don't have enough food. Anyway, so God was like, they would get the food they needed. "You will have meat every night and bread every day, except on the Sabbath, my day of rest," he said. That night, a huge flock of birds called quail flew down to where the Israelites were camped. It was so easy to catch them. There was plenty of meat for everyone. Should I start over? Sorry. Okay. Sorry, that night a huge flock of birds called quail flew down to where the Israelites were camped. It was easy to catch them. There was plenty of meat for everyone. So they were all complaining after they got out of the desert, and sorry, not after they got out of the desert. After I just touched the mic again. Okay. After God took them out of Egypt and opened a sea for them, they were complaining about food. And then God was like, okay, I'm sorry, I'll give you more food. So God gives them quail to eat and bread. Next morning, the Israelites saw something white, flaky, and as delicate as frost left behind on the ground as the dew dried. "This is special food that God has sent for you," said Moses. "Gather as much as you need." The food tasted sweet and appeared each morning. The Israelites called it manna. So God is providing them with food just like they were complaining about. And you'll see they had absolutely no patience at all. They didn't wait for God to do what he was going to do. They asked him for it right away as soon as they got out of Egypt. I don't even think they thanked him. I mean, I'm sure they praised God, so I guess they did thank him. But at the same time, it doesn't really seem like they appreciated it. Anyways, but Moses' problem did not end there. The hot sun beat down on the desert, and the people got thirstier and thirstier, obviously, because when it's hot, if you've gone to the beach, or if you've gone hiking, or if you just go out, to the beach, hiking, maybe, other places that are hot, obviously you're going to get thirsty. It's hot. It's like the sun is on you. Anyways, so the Israelites started grumbling to Moses all over again. Some people got so angry they picked up large stones ready to throw at him. They were literally about to kill Moses because they were thirsty for water. Anyways, they had no patience at all. I'm telling you that for a fact. The Israelites had no patience, and I can definitely identify with them because it's so hard for me to have patience when it comes to dealing with my brother, dealing with schoolwork or something. It just annoys me, and I don't have any patience with it. Anyway, so Moses was afraid. He turned to God for help. "Walk ahead with the leaders of the people," said God, "and when you reach a rock at Mount Sinai, you must hit it with your staff." Moses did as God had told them. When he hit the rock, lots of water came gushing and gurgling out. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that word, out of it. The water was cool and refreshing, and everyone had plenty to drink. So God provided food and water in the desert for his people as they journeyed back to the land of Canaan. So, So, they're in the desert where you don't usually get food or water. You don't get any of that in the desert because it's the desert, but God still provided it with them. So the Israelites were complaining, and God provided with them with everything they needed. So even though God had provided food and water in the desert, the Israelites continued to grumble and quarrel. So after God provided them with the necessities that they needed, they're still complaining. But that is just like us. We complain about everything, to be honest. Like, as children, we do complain about a lot of stuff. Well, not everything, but, like, we do complain about a lot of stuff. So there were human enemies who could stop their... Oh, wait, sorry. But they soon discovered that there were even worse things than hunger and thirst. There were human enemies who could stop their progress to the promised land. Because remember, God promised them the promised land. That's why it's called the promised land, because God promised it to them. So God promised them the promised land, and they're on their way to the promised land. However, they're complaining, they're grumbling, they're quarreling. So on their journey through the wilderness, they came upon the Amalekite people. The Amalekites attacked the Israelites. Moses ordered a man called Joshua, who he trusted, to gather their strongest men to fight the Amalekites. Joshua did as he was told and chose the strongest men to go into battle. Meanwhile, Moses took the special staff which God had blessed and went to seek his help. Moses went with Aaron and Hur, his two leaders. They climbed to the top of a nearby hill where they had a good view of the battle taking place below. Moses held the staff of God in the air, and the Israelites started to win the battle. So, the patience doesn't play into the story just yet, but we'll see the patience just now. But this is just like the backstory. So Moses raised his staff like that. There's a picture here. I don't know if you could see it. I just lost one of my pencils. Okay. He raised his staff like that, and the Israelites started to win the battle. When his arms grew tired, Moses lowered the staff, and immediately the Israelites started to lose the battle. When they saw this, Aaron and Hur found a large stone and gave it to Moses to sit on. When Moses was sitting on the stone, he was able to lift the staff once more. Later, Moses grew tired again, and his arms began to droop. Aaron and Hur quickly held his hands up on one side and the other so that the staff was held up until sunset. Thanks to God's help, the Israelites won the battle against the Amalekite army. So that was kind of, okay, anyway, so the Israelites in the desert was provided with food, water, the necessities that they need, and they were still complaining and grumbling. Then they got into a battle with the Amalekites, and God still provided for them, even after all the complaining. Anyways, God provided for them, and, they were able to win the battle because of Moses' magic staff. I like to call it a magic staff, but it's just like a blessed staff because God blessed it, I guess. So this is where the patience comes in. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard the story of the 10 Commandments, but I will read it to you right now. So Moses and the Israelites set up the camp at the foot of Mount Sinai. God told them he had brought them here to be his chosen people. Will you obey me, he asked them. The Israelites said they would obey him. Then God said he would give them 10 special laws, his commandments. These laws would show the people how to serve him properly. They would also help him then lead good lives and behave better towards one another. 2 days later, great clouds gathered, thunder rumbled, and lightning flashed at the top of the mountain. Together, Moses and Aaron climbed up the mountain. When they reached the top, God had given them his 10 laws. So Moses and Aaron went to the top of the mountain, and all the Israelites stayed down there, and they went to go get the 10 Commandments. So I'm going to read the 10 Commandments real quick. It's honor and serve me alone, for I am only God. Do not make or worship any other gods, as in don't have any idols. Treat my name with respect, don't blaspheme. Keep every Sabbath as the day of rest. Respect your father and mother. Do not murder. Husband and wives must keep their love only for each other, don't cheat. Do not steal. Do not tell lies. Do not be greedy about things that other people have. Don't be jealous, you know what I mean? So when God had finished speaking, he told Moses that he would give him 2 stone tablets with the words of the laws carved into them. They were all the people needed to live wisely on this earth. So now, I can't even imagine how the Israelites are feeling down there while Moses is getting his commandments. So because Moses was his special messenger, God explained to him how the laws worked. So he gave them all these laws, and they were written on 2 stone tablets, 5 on each. Yeah, 5 on each. And Moses was ready to bring them down and tell the Israelites, and and explained to them, this is how you're supposed to live on this earth. This is all you need to serve me, right? So Moses explained the laws to the people. He told them that God loved them and that he would look after them as long as they honored him and obeyed his laws. When Moses explained all this to the people, they were happy and promised to obey God's law. After this, God asked Moses to come back up to the mountain to talk with him again. So he came down, after he got the commandments, he came down and he told them the commandments, and he was like, this is how you're supposed to live, and God will protect you. Period. That's it. Live like this, God will protect you. Like, obey these laws, God will protect you. And the Israelites were like, yeah, okay, we'll do it. Yeah, let's do it. We're going to do it. We're going to obey him, and he's going to give us everything we want. But then, God calls Moses back up to the mountain. So, he was up at the top of the mountain talking with God for a very long time. Very long time. Okay? At the foot of the mountain, the people grew bored waiting for Moses to return. They went to find Aaron, Moses' brother. So this is where the patience comes in. Now, this is what happens when you're not patient. Let me tell you guys what happened. So this is crazy. This is why it's amusing to me, because God literally set before these laws right in front of their faces, and they're still going to choose to disobey them. You'll see just now. But they're growing impatient, obviously. Us as humans, we're impatient. It's a normal thing. There's nothing wrong with being well, there is something wrong with being impatient, but like it happens, you know, as long as we like try to have patience and we apologize for it. But yeah, so then they go to Aaron because they're growing impatient, and they're like, where is Moses? They asked him, and he has been gone so long. The people said to Aaron, Moses has forgotten us, and so has God. Make a new God to lead us. Literally, wait, which one was it? It was one, literally the second commandment God gave them was to not make any other gods. And like, because of their impatience, they can't even follow the simple rules that God put before them. Anyways, Aaron collected all the gold from the people, and Aaron, like Moses' brother, just decides to follow along with them. Yeah, let's make a golden calf. So Aaron collected all the gold from the people, their jewelry and ornaments. He melted it down and made it into a statue, a golden bull calf. The people worshipped this bull calf. They danced around it and sang praises. So now they're worshiping an idol. If you don't know what an idol is, it's something made out of like stone. And an idol is just something that people worship that isn't God, right? But the second commandment literally states, do not make or worship any other gods. And because of their impatience, they blatantly disobey the second commandment. And no, but it's funny to me. This is why it's amusing to me. Because as soon as Moses brings down the commandments, oh yeah, we're going to listen to the commandments. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. God is going to provide for us. And Moses goes up to talk to God. And because of their impatience, they just disobey him. Anyways, so the people worshipped this bull calf. They danced around it, sang praises. Then they had a big feast and drank. Up on the mountain, God spoke to Moses. You must go back to the people, he said. They have broken their promises to me and have made a new God to worship. When they saw how quickly the people had forgotten the promises, God and Moses were really angry. Moses threw the stone slabs on which God had carved the laws to the ground. They smashed into little pieces. Then Moses pulled the golden bull calf from its pedestal and grounded it to powder. He mixed the gold dust with the water and made the Israelites drink it. Oh my gosh. Dang, Moses! What? Okay, anyways, Moses asked Aaron why he had allowed the people to make the golden statue and worship it. Aaron didn't know what to say. Although Moses was angry, he still loved the people, and he returned to the mountain to talk with God. Moses prayed to God to forgive them, and he listened. God made new stone slabs, also called tablets, with the laws carved upon them once more. The people promised to obey God. So, these Israelites are something else, I'm telling you. Anyways, God promised them the promised land. However, sadly, I'm not going to get into that today because I only have 8 minutes. The time goes by so fast, honestly. Sadly, the Israelites did disobey God on numerous occasions, and it was like a cycle. They kept telling God they were going to obey him, and then they ended up disobeying him, and it all started with just a little impatience, and they actually didn't get to see the promised land. However, their children did, their grandchildren. So they themselves, the people who were brought out of Egypt, did not get to see the promised land, but their grandchildren and their children and their children after that was able to see it. But that is what happens, and they didn't get to see the promised land that was so beautiful. So they were in the desert for most of their lives, all because of just a little bit of impatience and a little bit of ungratefulness. Well, not a little bit, a lot of ungratefulness and a little bit of impatience. And that is why it's important to be patient, because you never know what's going to work out in the long run for you. If you have patience and you wait, and if these Israelites were patient, you never know what would have happened from there. If they were patient for waiting for Moses to come down from the mountain, then maybe things would have worked out a little bit better for them. Maybe they would have been able to see the promised land in the long run. However, they didn't. Instead, they decided to, the stone slabs were right there in front of them. It said, do not make or worship any other gods. And they were like, oh, no, it says do make other gods, because our God doesn't doesn't help us anymore. And then they made a whole other idol. So that is why it's important to have patience, because if they had patience, they would have never made that idol. They would have never disobeyed God, and that would have started, and they would have probably made it to the promised land. So that's why it's important to have patience with your family. You have to have patience when you're waiting on things, and you have to have patience just in everything that you do. So Philippians 1:6 says, have patience, God isn't finished yet. It's very important. If the Israelites had patience, then God probably would have helped them make it to the promised land. However, it wasn't only impatience. They were disobedient, they were ungrateful, so it had a lot of things, but it started with a little bit of impatience, and that is why it's important for us to not be impatient about things. So, have patience today. I challenge you guys to have patience through everything. Don't get angry easily, because that could also be a start of impatience. And the thing about the Israelites, they're kind of like us, right? Because they said sorry to God so many times, and they're like, I'm going to obey you. And then they go and do the same thing again. And then they're like, God, I'm sorry, I'm going to obey you. And then they do the same thing again. All up to the point that they didn't even get to see the promised land. Only their children did. So that is why it's important for us to have patience, to apologize to God. And when we do apologize to God, we need to fix what we've done, right? We can't just go back and do the same thing. I wanted to tell you guys the story about Noah and the ark, because Noah had a lot of patience. However, we don't have time to do that today. So, today is just about the Israelites and what can happen when you have impatience. So today, I challenge you guys to not wait for God. To wait for God. I'm sorry, I just went into a British accent, and then I was like, don't wait for God. It's not what I meant. I mean, wait for God. I challenge you guys to wait for God. Wait for Moses to come back down from that mountain so you can see the promised land. You could take that in whatever context you want.
Greer said, such an anointed teacher.
Thank you, Greer.
Amoy said, great teaching, Nora. God bless you.
Thank you, Amoy.
Pat said, I love how she's delivering and explaining as she goes along.
Thank you, Pat. That's really nice of you guys. Anyways, so yeah, I'm going to pray, and then I will talk about what we're doing later. So thank you, God, for this day. Thank you for everything you've given us. I pray that today these children will learn that it's important to have patience, because, well, when we don't have patience, it probably won't work out for us in the long run, just like the Israelites. I also pray that we will obey God's 10 commandments that he set before us, and we wouldn't just blatantly disobey them like the Israelites did. And I just pray for a good rest of the day for these kids. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. I can't, be mad at the Israelites, because they're just like us. We complain, we get mad, we get angry, we are impatient, we do blatantly disobey God's commandments sometimes. So I can't, be like, oh, what they're doing is so wrong, and then I'm doing the same thing, right? But I can try to work on those things, and you guys can too. So just remember, have patience today. I know I said that a bunch of times, but have patience today. Don't be impatient so you can make it to the promised land. Because sadly, these people who built a calf and started off with some impatience didn't even get to make it to the promised land. Anyways, later today, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make a vision board. If you don't know what a vision board is, it's like a thing with, it's going to help you, no, it's not going to help you, but it's like something that could really, this is so hard to explain. It's like you're going to put all of your dreams and your hopes and stuff you want to do when you grow up on there. I always wanted to make a vision board, but I never got around to it, so I'm going to be making one with you guys. I would say anything you're going to need is probably, if you have poster board, I would say poster board. If not, paper, like a regular paper is fine, but it just has to be a little bit bigger, probably about that big. Just anything that will make it fun, maybe like glitter or pom-poms or glue. You're also going to need pictures. Maybe print out some pictures about some stuff that you like, if you like drawing or if you like fashion. Print out pictures that pertain to that kind of stuff. Also print out pictures of stuff you like, maybe your favorite show, like maybe you like Hello Kitty. I'm probably gonna print out a few pictures of Hello Kitty. You could also get stuff from magazines. We're putting together a board that'll like make you that just has a bunch of stuff that you want to do when you grow up, and then you can hang that up and work towards those goals, and you can be patient and work towards those goals. So yeah, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make a vision board. We might do some drafting today. It might take a couple weeks to finish up the vision board, but I think today we might just do some drafting about it. It's going to be fun. And then tomorrow we're having Abby on for puppeteering. So yeah, thank you guys for joining me today. I hope to see you guys later at 5:30. And please have patience today. I have to try and be patient with Nick. That's going to be hard. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye!
Welcome to our service today. Today is our International Friendship Sunday, a Sunday where we want to celebrate the different countries that you represent. So today I'm going to ask you to comment in the section and let us know which country you are representing today. We are all part of the family of God, even though and countries. Also,